Number one in our Big 12 post-spring power rankings, the Arizona State Sun Devils, the defending Big 12 champions, who throttled Iowa State in the Big 12 championship and took Texas to the brink in the Peach Bowl last year. And gosh, some could say they kind of blew that with pass interference, the blown fourth down call. But we're not here to talk about last year. We're here to talk about 2025. Obviously, at quarterback, they've got Sam Leavitt coming back. He had a tremendous season last year. Coach Kenny Dillingham is back. You would have thought maybe he would have tried, someone would have tried to poach him, to a bigger school, but he obviously, graduated from Arizona State. He's from that area. He seems like he's really loyal, trying to build up that program. Transfer portal wise, man, huge running back signing with Kanye Udo from Army to replace. I mean, it's tough to replace a guy in Cam Scadaboo, but Kanye Udo is going to try his best. Jordan Tyson is back at wide receiver. I believe last year he got injured towards the end of the season. So they still won the Big 12 championship without him, but having him back as a go-to target for Sam Leavitt is very important. And you look at the defensive side of the ball, man, they are an old and experienced defense as well.
Yeah, I mean, let's start there. You said they're, old and experienced. Yeah, they returned 79% production, which is only second to Clemson in the entire country. So the defending Big 12 champs, who, like you said, took Texas to the brink, returns a lot of the production from last year's roster and added that really good running back piece there that you mentioned in Kanye Udo from Army. This was a team that last year started peaking at the right time, which is why that I think that a lot of people are high on them going into this year, not only winning the Big 12 and all that, but just how they finished last year's season. They won their last 7 games last year. And the last 7 games of the year, including the Big 12 championship game and the college football playoff game against Texas, Sam Leavitt threw 16 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions with a 64% completion percentage. And they averaged 36 points per game in those last 7 games. The Fun Devils were a ton of fun to watch last year. Obviously, they were replacing Cam Scadaboo, which became basically kind of a folk hero there at the end of last year, and then especially in that performance against Texas in the Peach Bowl. But, I mean, man, they're one of those few teams that's returning their starting quarterback and their head coach, offensive coordinator, and defensive coordinator. So a lot of continuity for Arizona State, a lot to like about them. And dude, I mean, we're fans of the sport, obviously, just like everybody else is. It's hard to dislike Kenny Dillingham, isn't it? Hey, real quick, look at the bottom of this screen and hit that subscribe button for us, please. And also follow us on Apple and Spotify. It doesn't cost you a thing, and it helps us out a ton. We greatly appreciate it.
Yeah. And if you look at, I mean, big disclaimer here. Last year, us and pretty much everyone else had the top 2 teams in the Big 12 as Utah and Oklahoma State. And look how that turned out for everybody last year.
Yeah.
This conference, man, I mean, we've got Arizona State at the top, but as you'll see with the next 7 teams we talk about, man, it really could be interchangeable at any of these positions. I mean, this conference is unlike the other 3 power conferences. You have no idea what you're going to get. If you're going to take a long shot on someone to win this conference, that's this is the place to do it. Is one of these teams that's probably not going to be mentioned today, but Arizona State, I mean, they're rightfully at the top, defending their crown as Big 12 champions.
Yeah, and I mean, what I love about this Arizona State team too is they're just so balanced, across the board, offense and defense. I mean, last year they averaged 230 passing yards per game, around 200 rushing yards per game. That's as balanced as you can be. I mean, Marcus Arroyo, him and Kenny Dillingham together. Marcus Arroyo is a really good offensive coordinator, was really good before he came to Arizona State and joined Kenny Dillingham and the Fun Devils last year. But having those two together on the offensive side of the ball is obviously has paid in dividends for them. Jordan Tyson, he's one of the top returning receivers in the entire country. At 1,100 yards receiving, you mentioned about his injury last year. I think he got injured the last regular season game of the year.
Yeah.
His first game that he missed was that Big 12 championship game, if I'm not mistaken. And obviously he missed the Peach Bowl, and that was huge, man. I mean, I think their second leading receiver last year behind him was Cam Scadaboo.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, when you lose your top wideout like that, that's a huge deal. Didn't need him in the Big 12 championship game because Iowa State, more on this in a minute, had a trouble stopping the run, and Scatterbo ran wild on them. But on defense, I mean, man, they're the definition of opportunistic. They forced a lot of turnovers last year. They were tied for 7th in the entire country last year in interceptions, and they returned a lot of that production. And they returned a lot of their top tacklers on defense as well. So, I mean, again,
think how crazy it is. I mean, they're second in the country in returning production, only to Clemson. And in an era where you see the SEC and the Big 12 poaching, or the Big 10 poaching some of the ACC and Big 12's best players, for them to keep all that talent. I mean, we saw Kenny Dillingham do some begging last year to get some NIL dollars there.
Oh, dude, I loved it. Remember after some of you're talking after some of those games where
oh yeah,
I like the way he handled it, man. I think my favorite thing about Dillingham is like in the age of coach speak and where you don't feel like you get honesty from a lot of people in the media, especially. Dude, Kenny D just tells it like it is, and like he seems like just a normal, good dude that like some of us would just sit around and have a beer with. That would just like talk like no different than sitting on a bar stool having a beer with him is the way he talks.
Yeah.
To the media. When after a certain game, I think it was the Utah game, when after they stormed the field and it was all excitement, and he came back into the locker room after the game and he said, "Look, if you as a Sun Devil fan, you're out there and you're enjoying this team, you're enjoying what you're seeing right now, like please donate here." And he gave the directions on how to like donate to the NIL fund there at Arizona State, the collective. He constantly did that throughout the year. But also, I loved how he handled the transfer portal stuff in general, man. Like after the Big 12 championship game, before they were about to go play in the college football playoffs, if you remember, dude, Kenny Dillingham was publicly telling and he was meeting with his players like, hey, like, I get it. Like, you got so-and-so offering you this much money, these many millions of dollars. Like, hey, he met with his players personally and in team meetings and was telling his players like, hey, look, we will help you land on your feet somewhere if that's what you really want to do. Like, I will be the biggest advocate for you to go somewhere if that's what you really want to do. But we want you here. We want you on this ride with us. Let's go on this ride together to the through the college football playoff. And after the playoff's over with, if you decide to go somewhere else, so be it. Turned out, didn't have a lot. It ended up going. Like, I'm sure the players probably loved that transparency. And so I really do think that has a lot to do with why a lot of those guys ended up coming back. Maybe Arizona State did get a ton. Like, we're not sitting there we're not members of the NIL collective there at Arizona State, so we obviously don't know how much money they've got there. But it's obvious that what Kenny Dillingham was preaching worked because of all the production that they've got coming back. So last question on this, would you say, I've seen a lot of the lists that have come out lately, is Sam Leavitt, in your mind, a top 5 quarterback in college football coming back this year?
Yeah, he's definitely up there. I mean, you definitely make a case for the top 5. Sure.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you did a quarterback like power ranking list in the Big 12, I think he would be number 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure with all those guys staying, I've always heard the talent in Tempe is pretty good too. So that doesn't hurt either.
Not at all, man. Not at all.